American Express just out with its earnings just a moment ago. Earnings did come in at $2.89 a share. That's 8 cents better than the street was expecting. That comes in on revenue of $15.05 billion, which actually missed estimates. That may account for why you're seeing the shares off by about 1.75%. Also reporting a loss provision of $1.2 billion. That was up from last year, but fairly stable from the first quarter. American Express saw strong travel demand during the quarter, with bookings through the company's consumer travel business actually hitting their highest levels since before the pandemic. Company also reaffirming full-year guidance, and I did speak with the CFO, Jeff Campbell, a little bit about these results. He says, look, what they're seeing right now is spending up 8% year over year. That's the biggest demographic when they look at it is the millennials spending, and the millennials spending up 21% year over year. Spending on travel and entertainment very strong around the globe. They said up 14% year over year, and they do expect double-digit growth for travel and entertainment spending the rest of the year. They know these things because they've got one of the largest travel agencies in the United States. They can see out months of what to expect. It's kind of what we've heard from the airlines that we've heard from this week as well. Resi, their reservation for restaurants business, that had the largest record number of restaurant reservations ever. It's even larger than their airline spend at this point, which is pretty crazy historically because the airline spend has always been the biggest. People are not only dining out, but also having delivery a lot. That has continued from the pandemic.
Talk about credit losses, Beck. That credit loss provision reflects higher net write-offs and $327 million in the reserve build. And there are some, for example, Barron says earnings still bracing for defaults in the future that people are a little bit debt-strapped.
And Jeff Campbell says, look, if that's an issue, it's much less of an issue at American Express than it is at others because they have much higher credit standards for who they let into these cards. They have higher credit standards, so they don't think it's going to be a problem for them. They say that there's no indication of any inflection point in any spend when it comes to restaurants or the rest of these things at this point. They haven't seen any of that. They also do have a new announcement coming out just in terms of a long-term partnership. Hilton's been a long-term partner, and they are renewing their agreement with Hilton to be a partner through 2023. It's pretty unusual to have a 10-year partnership, but this is a partnership that has already lasted for 70 years with Hilton. They've locked it up for another 10 years. But you can see the stock is off 2.5% at this point.
But it was near a high. The high is
him why, if you're
182.
You're so confident about the rest of the year, why are you only affirming guidance instead of raising guidance? If you're so sure that things are going to be going well, he said, look, we don't give out quarterly guidance. It's not something they like to do. Warren Buffett owns 20% of the company, Berkshire Hathaway. They don't like to see guidance coming out on this. He said we do offer it once a year, and unless it's wildly off, we won't readjust our numbers. So I asked, is that an indication of things slowing? He said no.
A good business model. I mean, we certainly know how it works. If you don't pay for the month, we're going to come and we're probably going to pay a visit to your house. Unlike the other ones where
Do you remember during the pandemic, they actually canceled a lot of cards because they were, not during the pandemic, during the financial crisis back in 2008, they canceled a lot of card members because they didn't want to get stuck in a position where they had people who weren't able to pay their bills.
Like everybody else.
They are pretty tight with.
And you can get a fancy one too. You can get like a metal one.
The black one.
Black one.
Platinum.
You probably got
Look, now the stock's
metal,
off 3.25%.
right?
So the street obviously has some questions about this.
Come on.
And is going to be wanting to hear more from the conference call. That stock is now off 3.25%.
Why not?
I am a big fan of American Express. I've told this story, but on the air, haven't I? The best thing about the American, and it's the Platinum American Express card has an insurance program, which people don't know about, which affected my family this 10 years ago as a medical thing. And they will literally come rescue you in the middle of nowhere, and people don't know about it. It's an amazing feature. By the way, one of the reasons they don't advertise it really, in part because they probably wouldn't be happy with me saying this aloud, because the truth is that they're worried too many people would actually use it.
But you're saying really good things about American Express.
I am saying the best things possible about American Express. As a customer, I'm not speaking about the stock.
If I didn't repeat stories that I've already told or jokes, I don't know if I could do this anymore. Don't be afraid to tell us things.
The sound of silence.